Hello, Internet, and welcome to the grand season premiere of Fairy Tail Final Season, episode 278. We pick up we pick up well after we leave off, initially. But when we last left our heroes, anime-wise, back in March 2016, I was still in high school. Natsu had showed up in Crocus, where Lucy, who is now a Sorcerer Weekly reporter, was reporting on the Grand Magic Games, showed up, was like, hey, we're getting the band back together. Lucy, who spent the past year, tracking down all the disbanded Fairy Tail members, is like, fuck yes, we're getting the band back together. And they all go off for a merry adventure, which is where we open the final season of Fairy Tail. Please, there have been rumors it's going to be a 25 episode season. Judging by this episode, I would be very, very shocked. Just because, this is the kind of stuff that if they were to try to cram the last 130 chapters of Fairy Tail into 25 episodes, a lot of this stuff would have been skipped, I feel. But the fact they're still taking the 2-chapter-a-week approach seems to imply we've got another year and a half or so of the Fairy Tail anime, at least unless they decide to adapt 100 Years Quest, which is going to be its whole tricky bag, depending on how long that is. Who knows, whatever. But anyway, before we begin talking about the episode proper, I'd like to remind everyone there's still about a week left on my fall 2018 anime straw poll. There'll be a link in the description. On a week from Monday, on the 15th, that'll be cut off. The top 2 or 3 shows, I'm still kind of deciding on the exact amount, will be added to the lineup. I'm still deciding if I'm going to do a catch-up video for them on the 15th, or wait until the next episode after the 15th to kind of discuss it all in one go. I don't know if you have any thoughts on that. Feel free to leave that in the comments down below. But yeah, with that said, let's get on to the episode proper. And we open really far in media res. I had forgotten how far exactly we were, so I checked on the wiki. That's like the 490s. It's the last day of the final war of the series. For anime-only people. And I kind of question putting that scene there. So these videos are going to try to be as anime-friendly as possible. With stuff like this, it's kind of hard to be perfectly anime-friendly just because they threw, the end of the series in when there's still another 80 chapters leading up to that, but I'm going to do my best. It works as an introduction, it's Fairy Tail's final battle, just like this season is the final stretch of Fairy Tail. And it works for that part. And, the language of, let's get our guild back, very much ties into... It makes it seem like it's tying into the Avatar arc's, goal of getting the band back together, I say Avatar arc, despite the fact that Avatar has not been introduced yet, but that will be, just shows how... That's kind of stuff I can't promise I'll be perfectly good at, because I've been saying Avatar arc for... This shit came out, it was early 2015. It's been 3.5 years since this arc ended. So it's been ingrained in my mind for a long time. But I'm going to try to be as spoiler-friendly as possible. But so, the language there kind of makes it seem like it's playing into this current arc. But it just works so much better in the manga, and I hope the fact that it's included here does not mean that it will get not brought up in the manga. Hopefully it'll be like Shippuden's Naruto and Sasuke scene that opened episode 1. Except not as long as that scene was. That was really an unnecessary scene back in 07. But yeah. So after we open on that scene with Team Natsu along with Juvia staring down at Magnolia. Spoiler alert, the city where Fairy Tail was is Magnolia. It's not a spoiler. We cut to the opening. It's a new opening, of course, it's a new season. And I can't quite decide if I like how the new OP just doesn't really care about this arc at all. On the one hand, I feel like an OP should really kind of address the material it's OPing for, should have some kind of hints towards it. Look at how, perhaps most infamously, Strike Back, the 16th opening, had, Altair's death in it. Completely, not death, but, the time loss thing, whatever happened to Altair, we all know what happened to Altair at this point. I feel like an OP should kind of address the material it's OPing for and kind of, hide any spoilers. Or, have, secret spoilers or something, But on the other hand, no one cares about Avatar. This is by far my least favorite arc in the series. the first arc of this season, because it's just so pointless. It's such a letdown from, it's like a huge quality drop from the masterpiece that was Tartaros, because in the manga, Fairy Tail Zero was its whole extra thing, was not included in the proper manga until like much later it was kind of adapted, but that's because it became plot relevant. But that's completely besides the point. I'll bring that up later, possibly when we get to the huge backstory reveal, a bit into Alvarez. Like, Avatar is just kind of a wonky arc. It does reveal 2 human forms, one of which implies that we will get through Avatar in the fall season, just because manga readers know the second human form we see. We see human Carla at the beginning, and there's another human form that we see who does not show up until the very end of this arc, and a great chapter, which is, I can't fucking wait to get to that part. It's so good. It's so fucking good. But yeah, so I think Avatar will be one and done by December, honestly. And then after the opening, we see a couple things that, if I go into too deeply, are huge Alvarez spoilers. We see a mysterious blonde woman at Layla's grave, at the Heartvelia Manor, who will play a big part in Alvarez. No spoilers who she is. And then we see Zareth and the Spriggan 12 in, like, thunder-lit, like, lightning-lit silhouette, you know. And I definitely feel like, so these last 2 arcs are really, they don't really tie into each other in the manga. They're just kind of there. You know, we have Avatar and then we have Alvarez. And I don't know, maybe the fact that we see Zareth's, you know, chief minions, their name might be a spoiler, so I'm gonna keep that hidden. Maybe it suggests a bigger effort to tie these last 2 arcs together than the manga really did. I don't know. There's a whole lot in this. Like, I'm 7 minutes into this video, and I've covered maybe 5 minutes of the show. Because I had a lot of fucking notes for this episode, because I love Fairy Tail. I have forgotten, just watching this episode, how deeply I love this show. Even, like, the manga, 100 Years Quest cannot compare to my love for the anime. I'm digging the hell out of 100 Years Quest. If you've seen my 100 Years Quest videos, you know I love it to death. It's really good. But, like, the voices, the music, the eye catches. I realize, I have a note here. I so missed the Fairy Tail eye catches. I had forgotten how much eye catches are a pretty common thing in anime, to, you know, denote where commercial breaks are. You see it in Angels of Death, for one thing. You see it in, what other shows have eye catches recently? I mean, FMA did it for years, or for however long FMA was on the air. Inuyasha did it for years. They're not a common thing anymore. AOD is kind of weird in that regard. Titan does it in that regard. Speaking of AO, word that letter that ends in E, Titan does it. With a material known to humans or whatever it's called. And like everything about this, I just so love it. You know, eye catches was a really minor thing. Sure, they're not if they were the same, you know, happy eating a fish eye catches from series 1, I would have wept. I would have wept on this bed. Yeah. So anyway, when we finally meet up with Happy and Natsu, Happy, and Lucy on their quest to get the band back together, they encounter this gigantic boar monster. And Lucy is like, "Oh my god, it's so cute." And Happy gives this super calm, "Oh yeah, they lure you in with their fluffiness and then devour you in one gulp." And it's so calm that like you just have to laugh. I cackled a lot during this episode. I've really missed Fairy Tail. I've really missed, you know, Aya Hirano as Lucy. I've missed I don't know who plays Natsu or Happy. I used to know. I know all the English voice actors. This was the Japanese version, so I don't know them as well. I can't wait to watch the English dub again. Oh god, it's gonna be so great. But yeah. So then we have after Natsu like super kills this gigantic boar thing. He eats dinner with Lucy, eating the boar monster's meat. And I appreciate both that we get Tartaros flashbacks for viewers who, you know, it's been 2.5 years since the anime ended. 2 3/4 and the plot really advanced anywhere, because the last core of the 2014 series was all Zero. So it's been a long time since the last anime ended. And so I appreciate that we have these flashbacks. People who forgot them. We see, the 9 Demon Gates real fast. We see Natsu and Gray tag teaming Margear, Zero showing up at the Book of END, After Lokia killing Igmeal, all these big important moments. And I also appreciate that we don't spend too much time on them. You see them, you remember what happened, and then there's still, a lot of plot to get through in the next year and a half or so. So I appreciated that. What's next? So then they end up in Thule Village for the next day. And I really there's a lot. It's a really humorous scene. Natsu comments on the fact that you destroyed a clock tower here, probably back in 784 before the series started. Maybe, I don't know. It certainly was not in the series. I don't think. Unless this was where the Lullaby arc ended. I'm not sure. I don't remember any of that. And I appreciate these lighter moments. Natsu's like, oh, I wanted to, beat the shit out of Gray and Urza and Loxus as soon as I got back. And, knowing how dark Alvarez gets and how, there's just one thing after another, really, once this arc really kicks off, after the Orochi Fin stuff, I appreciate these lighter moments because they will not be coming anytime soon after this. And then we get a quick showcase for how crazy strong Natsu has gotten. He's as soon as he arrives in Thule Village, we see him start to sniff the air a lot. And he suddenly shoots a super thin blast of fire under Lucy's skirt, because this is Fairy Tail and we have to have our fan service every now and then. And then the stream of fire snakes behind Lucy miles away and with pinpoint precision knocks out the Lamia Scale guys like that. It's a quick showcase of how skilled Natsu has gotten. Given that Natsu in the past has always been kind of brute force, just smashed your way through everything, there's kind of something to be said about how he just, precisely knocks out the bandits and not the wagon they've stolen. It's actually a really interesting thing. But yeah, that was just a nice little scene. And then the gang heads to Margaret, which is the home city of Lamia Scale, which we have not seen before, actually. We've actually never been to Margaret, I don't think. And then we find out, for the surprise of all anime-only viewers, Wendy has joined Lamia Scale. And this is a recurring thing, as a lot of the Fairy Tail guilds have joined other guilds. I'm not going to spoil the funniest one, but manga readers, you know who's in Blue Pegasus. It's my favorite thing. I'm not going to spoil who's there, but it's really funny, and you'll see. I don't remember when that's revealed, but it's a great moment. So yeah, Wendy has joined up with Shelia, and is a part of a band, a idol unit with Shelia called the Sky Sisters, which is a name that does pick up a lot whenever Wendy and Shelia do anything, even after this arc. The Sky Sisters is really a common name. But yeah, they have a quick little song, and one thing the manga does not convey is that the Sky Sisters song is just not very good. It's I guess that's really the only description for it. It's a song. It's a song that definitely exists. But I don't know. It's just, I don't get the appeal of it. Maybe it's just, idol culture is really big in Japan. It never really been a big thing in America. And maybe it's the fact that I'm very much not from Japan that I don't quite get the appeal of idol songs. But I don't know. It just doesn't really work for me. But then who shows up to Natsu, Lucy, and Happy's side but a human transformed Carla? And, in the 3 years since that plot point was dropped on us, I've kind of gotten used to human Carla. She's still really weird. But, I had forgotten just how weird a human form Carla was when the manga first dropped it on us. But then we see Edgelord Snake Guy, who is the leader of Orochi Fin. And what can I say but Edgelord Snake Guy is edgy. He's just oh, they'll have a Thanksgiving festival of blood, like my 13-year-old self would have said. I don't know. Spoiler alert, Orochi Fin I don't think will last past next episode. They're a really short blip in the manga. The anime has, of course, at one point infamously dragged out a really pointless fight. The 2014 series almost opens with the Fairy Tail versus the stupid ass executioners, and they were bad in the manga, and dragging them out 4 episodes did not work then. And I'm hoping Orochi Fin is not dragged out to the same extent. I'm hoping it'll be done by next week or maybe the week after, just because there's not a lot of content to it. It's not that interesting. All the more meaty conflicts are later down the line. Orochi Fin is just kind of there, you know. But I'll get to that more when Orochi Fin actually shows up. So after this, Natsu, Lucy, and Happy come backstage to talk to Wendy about joining Fairy Tail again. And Wendy says no. That she's become a part of Lamia Scale, and this is her home now. And I really like this decision. Because, so essentially, Natsu and Lucy, their lives are kind of, this whole year have revolved around Fairy Tail. Natsu and Happy ran away to get stronger for Fairy Tail. Lucy spent the year, you know, charting out where everyone was, because she couldn't imagine life without Fairy Tail. She's lost every family she's ever had. You know, Layla died when she was a kid. Jude died while she was trapped in the fairy sphere. Fairy Tail is her family. Fairy Tail is Natsu's family. They've never really known anything else. And so I really like that they, at no point, consider that anyone would have a differing feeling toward Fairy Tail, because it's everything to them. And I like that it's, while Wendy also, you know, found a family in Fairy Tail, she also found a best friend in Shelia during the Grand Magic Games. And so her joining Lamia Scale and feeling a deep loyalty to them for taking her in after Fairy Tail disbanded, for having Shelia and being best friends with Shelia, I really like that she's not as gung-ho as Natsu and Lucy are. And, you know, I don't, judging by the opening sequence, is never really in doubt that Wendy will join Fairy Tail. That's actually my big problem with in-media arrest sequences. A lot of things are not in, they're like, it kind of like destroy suspense. You know, look at the Boruto and Kabuki stuff in the Boruto anime and manga. This just, now we know how all that story ends. But yeah, I'm not a big fan of in-media arrest openings, especially ones that are like ways away into the story. I think really the only in-media arrest openings that ever really worked for me is Log Horizons, which, you know, kicks off in the middle of episode 1, so there's not really this big suspense as to how we get there. It's just a quick, you know, explaining the world. Also, the first book of Sword Art Online also does that same kind of thing, and it works really well. But this kind of, you know, shows what happens in maybe a year's worth of content is not exactly great. And I was kind of on the fence about it even earlier in this video. I'm not for it. I think it was a bad decision. But yeah, after that, Natsu, Lucy, and Happy go to a hotel, hang out, fret about Wendy not wanting to join Fairy Tail again, and then Orochi Fin shows up with a horde of monsters to attack Margaret. And you know, Edgelord Snake Guy is hardly a character, but at least he knows the proper way to eat a sucker. No one fucking sucks on those things until they're gone. You take a few licks and you bite the hell out of it. That is how you eat a sucker, America. Listen to me. Listen to me, I am right. I am right. Yeah, at least he knows how to do that, and I'm here for that. That's accurate. And then, you know, the gang is all like, there's a monster tamer, but we can't get to them because there's this horde of monsters, and so Wendy and Happy, so Natsu's like, wait a sec, we have cats who can fly. And so Natsu and Wendy get on their cats and go fly, but then Shelia steals Happy, which I really love. Because we see earlier on, Shelia feels like Wendy will definitely leave. You know, Shelia's like, yeah, this is Wendy's home, we're just kind of a foster care system for her until Fairy Tail gets back together. And so Shelia's like, it's been a while, so I don't exactly remember what exactly we find out that she's thinking, but she's either thinking, I want Wendy to stay, and I want to show how much I care for Wendy so that she won't leave us for Fairy Tail, or she's thinking, if Wendy's gonna go, I'm gonna help her out one last time. Either way, I love this episode. The Orochi Spin stuff's actually a lot better than I remember it. Like, I had almost completely forgotten about this because Avatar eclipses it, and Alvarez well eclipses it, being the longest arc in the series, for better or for worse. That's the thing about shonen manga, though. The last arcs tend to be super fucking long, with the exception of maybe Ghoul, had a fairly short final arc. I don't know. That's a random thought that just popped in my head. Yay for ADD. But yeah, after that, Shelia flies off. Natsu's all like, yeah, I'm gonna bust through all these monsters because Shelia stole my cat. And he like charges the monsters, cut to the ending. And so the ending is... it's alright, I guess. The song is nothing special, you know. The song might grow on me as time goes on. That's been known to happen, you know, happened with, Boruto's third opening, which I wasn't really grand on when it first started, that I grew to love. And I think it tells the current story better than the OP. You know, the current OP is more like, here's all the cast, and here are them attacking people. Not even really any noticeable people, just like, they're fighting. And the ED does actually show stuff. You know, it shows Wendy's like miserable when Fairy Tail disbanded, but then, you know, the sun rises because Natsu shows up, and now she has the chance to get her guild back. It's simple storytelling, but it gets the job done. So yeah, that's Fairy Tail 278. Welcome to the final season. I'm super excited. Alvarez has a bit of a bad rap, based on how some things play out, but I think it really plays into both. This is a bit going into the future of the series. I think it plays into both Mashima's strengths and weaknesses. It has some, you know, Mashima's not stellar at fight scenes. Like, reasonably concluding fight scenes in ways that make it seem realistic that the hero wins is not Mashima's strength. I admit that. And Alvarez has a lot of problems with that, but also plays up to a lot of his strengths. Mashima is great at backstories, he's great at character work, and there's plenty of that to go around in Alvarez. Avatar, not so much, though, given what's going on in 100 Years Quest, we'll see how relevant that turns out to be. But yeah, in the end, I'm excited to see how the anime coverage happens next. I hope they there are a lot of stuff in the manga I feel like should have expanded on certain fights that were like one and done and should have really been longer. Certain things in the manga should have shown how beat up certain characters were as they were getting fought. That'll be a big thing near the finale. I'll explain more on that as we go. But yeah, I really enjoyed this episode. I really enjoy having Fairy Tail back and animated and voiced. And I love Fairy Tail so much. And I can't wait to see how the series ends. Or see how the anime ends it. I know how it ends, because I've read the manga. You can watch my manga videos if you want. But yeah, that's really all I have to say for this episode. Hope you all enjoyed as much as I did, and enjoyed the video. If you did, feel free to drop me a like, or subscribe, fill out my straw poll in the description. You know what? Do whatever the fuck you want. I don't really care. And I am not the boss of you. And as always, people, keep kicking ass, and I'll see you in the future. Bye!